You said.
Okay, students, so I believe you can hear me. Yes, thank you. So students, thank you very much for sending the answers for the co-activity evaluation. It was really good. And the students who did not send, I will just need to say that you need to improve, because that is extremely important, students. Okay, so students, what I will do now is I will do a live mock with you all. So students, if you don't mind, can you just go through this question, please? If you don't mind, can you just go through this question, please? It's a live mock. Mr. Vishnu, I think there is a problem in my speaker. I'm not able to hear, so we'll use the chat box, students. Please go through this and you can put Y in the chat box after you have done. You can put Y in the chat box, students, after you have completed this.
Sorry, sir. A bit confused.
No problem. You go through this. I will guide the explanation. Is it fine, Priscilla?
Yes. Were we supposed to do this before?
No, I will be doing with you. Don't do it. Don't do it, students. I will be doing. So I just want you to observe the question and make notes on it. Okay, so students, I believe you have gone through the question. Thank you. So students, if you don't mind, can you again take around 2 minutes to go through the reference material as well? The reference material also.
Is it possible to go back to or split the screen so I can see both? I think I came into the class a little bit too late, so I didn't finish the email. Thank you.
Thank you. So students, now if you observe this question, it's a very vague question. So I will just guide you on how to write the answer for this question. So students, mock number 2, the finance director and the finance manager has been on a personal vacation. So students, again, in the exams, they may not even send this term. Sometimes they may directly say Asif has sent it to you. So you are already knowing Asif is one of the founding member of this organization. So sometimes Asif can contact you as well. You may don't need to confuse, just think in that manner. I have been visiting many workshops in Singapore on education. So he has gone on many workshops. I have come across on demand programs. So students, you are aware about on demand programs. Like, so example, anytime you can watch those programs where some companies have invested in mobile application. So he's explaining that some companies have invested in the mobile application as well, where the delegates can check the recorded version. They can check the recorded version and practice some basic question on understanding and learn the application of the concept to their business. So students, it's already recorded version. This has more scope since it is accessed from anywhere in the world, and it is a great stuff for professionals. So the scope is very high. Anywhere in the world you can access that, and there is high scope for this. Okay. So students, one kind reminder, only for today you can use the chat box. I think there is a problem with the sound system. Okay. So students, I believe that's going well. So I have spoken to the external consultant on developing service line as a separate entity. Please check the reference material. Please, can you respond on the following? Firstly, discuss how the two proposal will affect the financial statement. So students, they are asking about the two proposal impact on the financial statements. Frankly speaking, students, at the moment, we can't think about anything. The main reason is we need to refer the reference material. Secondly, please recommend the type of responsibility center when making this a new venture. So suppose if we are going to make this as a new venture, what should be the responsibility center? So students, what I will specifically do is I will just split the screen into two sections. So I believe you are able to see this as well. So students, we can work together. Okay, we can work together. So let's go through the requirements of the reference material as well. Thanks for the following opportunity. So that's external consultants report. As per my experience, you can consider the following. Option 1, acquire a tech-based company. So here they are saying buy a tech-based company. You can acquire 100% of the tech-based company and guide them with the content. Therefore, you will have the operation smooth and easily you can leverage. However, one concern you may have been in the communication issue where they may misunderstand the financial language and develop something outside the scope. Now, students, you can buy a tech company and start giving them the content to be uploaded. So option 2, develop an incorporated company. You can have full knowledge of the process and development, but you need to understand this may take longer time in establishing, since you may need to invest more time on trial and error. That means you need to work on trial and error and do it. So you have the two options to go ahead with this proposal. One is acquisition and the other one is organic growth, that is you start developing in your own. So here they are not asking about anything on the strategy point of view. They have specifically mentioned the effects to the financial statements. Okay, so students, now what I can do is I'll write down here a heading. So I'll write down here mock to answer. Mock to what, students? Answer. So students, before you write the answer, now example students, I told you, you should plan very well how many paragraphs you need to structure. So you know students, this paper consists of 25 marks. So 60% of 25 marks is how much, students? 60% of 25 marks. In this case, I think it will give you 15 marks. And 15 marks, as we have already discussed, it's better to go with 7 paragraphs. And students, if you are unable to write 7 paragraphs, I will show how it is done. You can even end up with 4 to 5 paragraphs and also get a good results as well. And then students, if you observe the next one, once again, it is 25 marks, again 40%. So it will give you how many marks, students? 10 marks in total. So students, in this case, there needs to be how many paragraphs, students? There needs to be 5 paragraphs. So students, any questions here, you can ask me. But if you are fine with the paragraph divisioning, I think that is good. So students, if the paragraph divisioning is clear for you, can you put Y in the chat box, students? Because students, when we practice so many mocks, this will be integrated into your system, and you may find it little easier as well. So students, if you observe here, I will just write down two proposals, impact to the financial statement, Now students, one good thing I can say is here 2 proposals are given. So students, in the safer side, you can just design it as 3 paragraphs from one proposal, 3 paragraphs from another proposal. One can be a conclusion. Like that also you can design, or 4 paragraphs from one proposal, 3 paragraphs. It depends. It's your personal judgment, but make the coherence very clearly. The logical flow must be there. So students, the first thing I'll write down here is proposal 1. Proposal 1, I will subdivide this and I will mention here acquisition 100% of tech company. What company, students? Tech company. And then students, I will come to the next one. The proposal 2 is not going to acquire, you are going to incorporate. Incorporate means, students, you are going to register a business, okay? Incorporate a tech company. That means I can say it's organic growth here. So students, are you clear with these 2 proposals? What is there? So I need to come into the picture. These 2 are successfully done. So I will finish this first and I will move on to the next one. So students, if you are going to acquire a tech-based company, can you tell me what are the impacts that will have in our financial statements? Students, what are the impacts that will have in our financial statements? You can use the chat box, students. Impacts to the financial statements. Ratios will get impact. 5% only we have. Gearing ratio will increase. You are telling the impact to the analysis. I'm asking to the financial statements here. Financial statements here. So when you are acquiring a 100% company, what are the financial statements impact? Not the financial ratios, financial statements. Ratio points are good. I really appreciate it. Wonderful, wonderful. But in the point of financial statements, students, what will happen? NCI 100% ownership. So NCI is not there, but I can say goodwill can be calculated, students. So I'll write down here calculation of goodwill. Calculation of what, students? Goodwill. And I will write down here IFRS 3. Okay, business combination. So students, just for your understanding, I will just mention, because this always comes in the examination, because it is the last co-activity. So students, if you are going to acquire a 100% tech company, there will be a goodwill calculation. So students, shall we write down the answer? I can say, okay, when the company acquires the tech based organization, there is a business combination. There is a business, what, students? Combination. There is a business combination. There is a business combination where IFRS 3 requires companies to calculate the goodwill on acquisition. The goodwill on what, students? Acquisition. Goodwill on acquisition. Okay. Therefore, in the point of a tech-based organization, the goodwill calculation will result in a challenge because students, can you tell me why? Can you use the chat box, students? Why do you think there will be a challenge here, students? Why do you think there will be a challenge in the goodwill calculation? What is your observation, students? Can you use the chat box? Why there will be a challenge? Intangible, very good, Jos. Unquoted company, wonderful, Shruti. It's very good. So can I write down here? I can say one. Sometimes the tech-based organization is unquoted, and most of the developments, such as applications and softwares, are intangible. Therefore, the challenge is more, full stop. So students, now see here, this because of this sector. So do you observe, students, I connected the business application. Now, if you see the first sentences here, it is little more on the technical aspects. But when it comes to the business, we were talking about the challenges in the industry. So students, just to make the answer quality more clearer, can you tell me who is our finance director? Mr. Marja? I think Mr. Marja is the finance director. Yes or no, students? Yes. So students, remember the name. So I can say, so I'm the finance manager, right? Therefore, it will be great. It will be great if we wait till Mr. Marja returns from the vacation. If the urgency is high, so students, if the urgency is high in practical, with whom we can clarify this? Marja is on a vacation and we have a high urgency. So let's assume he has been in overseas. So you can't ask him to come. So when he comes again, the urgency is affected. So students, can you tell me how the urgency can be mitigated here? If it is urgent, you are going to consider what option, students? Can you common sense wise use the chat box and let me know if it is urgent? External consultant, no. That's again counter attack. Any other things other than the external consultant, students? Any other things other than the external consultant? Students, practical, I'll say, if it is high, we can request external auditors, because our company has external auditors to provide their point of view, because the external auditors have high exposure, students. So just keep in mind. So students, do you have any questions on the first paragraph we have developed? And do you see here, students, it's a blended type of paragraph. We have explained it, the impact directly, and then we said the challenges involved and we gave a solution also as well. So students, any questions you can ask me. If it is fine for you, you can put Y in the chat box. Senior finance manager is also on a vacation, students. I think it is mentioned, both finance director and finance manager. So that is the meaning there. Senior finance manager only. Okay, so students, I will come to the next point of view. So goodwill will be affected. The other thing that will be affected, students, can you please tell me, students, what will be the next thing that may get affected here, students? I'll write down here fair value of net assets. Fair value of what, students? net assets, because students, when there is a acquisition taking place, we need to measure every assets in their fair value. So students, the book values will be updated into fair value. So I can generally say, when the acquisition takes place, when the acquisition takes place, the book values, needs to be what, students? Needs to be updated in fair value. Students, can you tell me what is the accounting standard for fair value measurement? Fair value measurement accounting standard. It is there in our IFRS studio, but someone tell me what is the accounting standard for fair value measurement, students? A small question, please put it in the chat box, please. Fair value measurement. Thank you very much. Excellent. So correct answer, Shruti. So IFRS 13 fair value measurement has guided the finance profession on the measurements. So students, that is very clear. So I can say, now I will connect to this point. So I will write down here, the tech sector is highly exposed to subjectivity, since there is no active markets for internally generated non or internally generated assets, such as softwares and apps, applications. So students, my question to you, so if there is no external market, active market, what is the alternative, students? Can someone tell me what is the alternative if there is no active market? Can you use the chat box, please, students? If there is no active market, what is the alternative, students? How are you going to measure it? Cost base, no. We can't go to the cost base. We need to go to something called level 3 valuation. Level 3 valuation. I gave the clue. Level 3 valuation can be applied. So students, can someone tell me how the level 3 valuation works out? Level 3 valuation works out, because observable measure, correct, but I just want to ask you, how are you going to do it? Because level 3 is non-observable as well, non-observable and non-active as well. So students, level 3, how are we going to apply that, students? Can you give it a try, please? Level 3 application, please. Level 3 application. Level 3 application. The present value of future expected cash flows should be calculated. Further, this involves lots of professional judgment. Lots of what, students? Professional judgment. Lots of professional judgments. Therefore, the company should be able to understand the current conditions using a external valuer, because you can use an external valuer to get this understanding. So students, one thing, goodwill must be calculated if you are going for this. Then the fair value of the net assets must be calculated. Then students, any other points that will be affected, students, when you are going for an acquisition, please. And remember, in this case, it's 100%. So NCI is not present. But if it was a partially acquired company, I think NCI may also come into the picture. So students, any other point of view you can think here, students, because you observe here, my thought process is on software. I am not thinking in the technical aspect. I know the technical knowledge very well, but I am quickly using that technical background for the application as well. So students, any other questions, any other points you are thinking, you can comment in the comment box, students, please. So exchange rate valuation, I don't think so, because I feel this is a company within our sector. So I didn't want to go to that level. Exchange rate, I can't accept it at the moment, because we are not going for a international acquisition. We are going for a local acquisition as well. Students, I will write down here. Now, if you are going to acquire again a 100% owned company, what is the next impact to the financial statement? Consolidation. What do you think, students? Acquisition will result in what, students? Consolidation. Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? So Mr. Funny has mentioned IFRS 10, consolidated financial statements has clearly mentioned that the companies should aggregate, look at the term, aggregate the assets and liabilities, in a line by line basis, in order to produce group financial statements. Okay, so students, this is the technical knowledge what is there here. So can I come into the application as well? So yes, we can come into the application as well. Therefore Trayyner group, I'll use the term here, Trayyner group will be consolidating. Now, can you tell me, students, this is a little bit of pre-sin knowledge. Currently, we have how many subsidiaries, students? At the moment, we have how many subsidiaries in our group? 3 are there. So, consolidating 4 subsidiaries in total, including the 3 foreign subsidiary, the 3 foreign subsidiary. So students, I'll write down this change will have a material change in the values of assets and liabilities, which should be explained through a note. You need to explain through a note why there is a huge differences between these two. So students, before we move on to the next aspect, any questions you have, you can ask me, students, but I think this has fine value here. So is it fine for you all, students? Yes or no? Yes. So thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. So students, can you tell me one more impact, students, when there is an acquisition taking place? When there's acquisition, now we learned there will be a goodwill, there will be fair value of net assets, there will be you see here logically flowing. I look at the paragraph structuring, students. Goodwill, fair value, consolidation. Then students, any other things, students, you can just mention here. It will be great. NCI is not there, right? Again, presence of mind. 100% acquisition, I clearly told you, right? Now just remember, students, in a case like this, 100% specifically mentioned, you are writing NCI, you will end up in 76, 78. Some students always ask me, why am I coming to 70s and failing? You would have written a wonderful answer, but you have purposely made a mistake by memorizing some previous mock answers and writing. So don't write NCI unless it is relevant. Now I told you, in this case, it's not relevant, but In the exam, suppose if they give you 90% acquisition, then you can say about NCI as well. Students, any other point of view you can explain? I'm waiting for your answers, please. You can use the chat box, students. Okay, one thing, students, that will affect in the future, if this goes on, is something called consolidated what, students? Consolidated what, students? Consolidated retained earnings. Agree, no, students? Now, at the moment, we have retained earnings, that is the accumulated profits from the beginning to the end. But students, there can be situations in a case where consolidation retained earnings will get affected, because consolidated retained earnings will have the subsidiaries impairment losses, subsidiaries excess depreciation. You get what I'm saying, students? Subsidiaries unrealized profits transfer, all those things will take place here. So students, I'll write down here. So I'll write down the companies will need to prepare the consolidated retained earnings, the consolidated retained earnings, the consolidated retained earnings when there is an acquisition, when there is what, students? An acquisition, when there is an acquisition. This is very clear for you. Therefore, the following challenges can be faced. So students, I will give you the business challenges what we will be facing. Since tech companies have a fair value adjustment, tech companies have a fair value adjustment, which is generally subjective. In the upcoming period, there can be excess depreciation or excess amortization adjustments, excess depreciation, excess amortization adjustment. Further, there can be situations where impairment losses of tech-based company takes place, since tech industry is highly volatile. Tech industry is highly volatile. Agree? So students, I think that is the fundamental point of view on the consolidated retained earnings effect. So one more effect is there, students. If that one more effect is completed, I believe, students, we have almost completed the 5 major effects here. So students, can you just give an example of that? What is that one more effect? What is that one more effect you are thinking, students? What is that one more effect? Cash flow, no. No, foreign subsidiary, no. This is a local subsidiary, as I told you. There is nothing related to foreign mention. So don't. Taxation, no. So I'll come to the next point, students. So the answer here is going to be changes in the equity. changes in what, students? In the equity, changes in the equity. So can we write down the note here? The company may acquire the tech organization using, I can specifically say, students, using shares or contingent shares, which means there can be situations where the equity balance of share capital and share premium can get affected, can get what, students? Affected, meaning that the company is exposed to equity differences, since tech companies prefer share exchange. Now, if you see, students, in reality, tech company prefers share exchange only, students, because they are highly sensitive to the business cooperation, so they go with the share issue as well. So students, any questions you can ask me, but that is the basic understanding there. So students, I believe that is a good point here. So we have already written about the 5 things, what is affected. Ratios, I don't say that is wrong, that is correct, but ratios can be the last priority than the first priorities. So students, before I move into the second proposal, incorporate the tech company, if you have any questions, you can use the chat box, students. If you have any questions, you can use the chat box. If everything is fine for you, students, you can put Y in the chat box, students. Thank you, students. Thank you, students. Thank you very much. So students, now proposal to incorporate a tech company. So when you're incorporating a tech company, students, my first question to you is, do we need to calculate goodwill? No, we need not calculate goodwill. That is clear for us. And then students, do we need to consolidate? No, that is also clear for us. And then students, can we also treat it as one of our division? Possible or not possible, students? Yes or no? Because if we incorporate a tech company instead of a subsidiary, can that be a part of our wing? In other words, our, I can say, a sister company can be easily incorporated as well. So I will write down here, students, no need of consolidation adjustment, no need of consolidation adjustment. So what I will do is, the above 5 points, I am going to summarize it, and I'll just explain to the management. So in the point of a tech company being incorporated, tech company being what, students? Incorporated, there is no need of calculation, no need of calculation of what, students? Goodwill, comma, I can further continue, consolidation, no need of consolidation, fair value adjustment is also not required. And then students, no need to have consolidated retained earnings as well. Consolidated retained earnings is also no need. And then students, I can further continue with that fair value adjustment, consolidated retained earnings, equity adjustments as well. So students, if you observe, this is a basic summary of what we have written. So I am now going to write down the accounting treatment. So I can say the new company will have the following changes, only the following changes. Now students, if you want to start a new company, there is two possibility. You need to invest through equity, or you need to invest by taking a loan. Agree, no students? The financing decision of the management may have a direct impact to the company. Example, students, what I will specifically say is, example, the company will have to increase the equity balance in case the proceeds are from the rights issue or from issue at full market price. Issue at what, students? Full market price. Full stop. So students, I will further continue. Okay, I will further continue. Suppose if the decision has been made through, I can specifically say debt finance, there will be changes to the capital structure, which is the gearing ratio, full stop. So students, this is how the appraisal will take out. So in this, students, I am again repeating, you have learned a lot of understanding here. That means, I think Priscilla asked last time, can't we write answers only using common sense in the exams? I said, yes, it depends. But in this question, I can't agree with Priscilla's comments, because if you see here, you need to know a lot of applications technically, not the full technical knowledge. Now, some students were telling NCI for this answer. Those students are technically strong, application weak, because they did not know how to apply to 100% subsidiary. And the examiner may also want the students to be application-wise strong as well. So students, I think we have successfully incorporated 7 headings or 7 paragraphs. So before we move on to the next one, any questions you have, you can ask me, students. I think we have successfully completed the first section, that is the 60% area is over. Any questions you have, you can ask me, students. If it is clear for you, you can put Y in the chat box. So students, I think everything is clear for you all. So everything is fine here. So students, thank you very much. So students, just remember the art of this paper. Some questions you can write without the technical knowledge. Some questions need technical knowledge as well. So in that cases, you need to be little much thinking as well, students. But all the question doesn't need technical knowledge. So that is one thing I need to say to you all. So thank you very much, students, for your point of view and the questions. So what I will do next is I will come to the next one. Recommend the type of responsibility center when making a new venture. So students, in an exam point of view, recommend, when you see some students gives the recommendation directly. Please avoid that, students, because it's a 40 marks question. So your final paragraphs can be on the recommendation, but I don't say directly recommending will make you score a lot of marks. You need to do an evaluation. So students, if you don't mind, can you please use the chat box, and can you please chat in the chat box the types of responsibility center? Please, students, the types of responsibility center that you are aware about. Thank you. One answer has come, that is profit center. Then what are the two others? Investment center and the cost center. Thank you very much, students. So students, these are the three types of responsibility centers at the moment. Revenue center now has been broken into profit center only, students. So they have simplified it into three. So I will write down here, students. I will write down here. So I will just mention here the responsibility center, the responsibility center, the responsibility center for the tech company, the responsibility center for the tech company, students, the responsibility center for the tech company. So students, I will give the recommendation last, but initially let's do the appraisal. So I can say many organizations, so I'll give a basic explanation. Many organizations have three types of responsibility centers, three types of responsibility centers, three types of responsibility centers. So the first type of responsibility center that you are aware about, I think you have already given. So in this case, you can write the bullet points, the three types you have mentioned. One is known as what, students? Is the investment center, okay. The other one is known as what, students? The cost center. That is also clear. And the third one is known as what, students? The third one is known as investment center, cost center, and the third one is profit center. Okay. So students, now let's continue with this explanation. So I'll write down here investment center, investment center. So students, I will just write down the application so you are getting the understanding as well. The investment center, the investment center is generally a cash rich division, which finances funds to other specific business units. So students, just to make it very clear for you, I will give you a practical example. Coke will be the investment center for other products, such as, I can generally say, Maaza. Maaza is a product of Coke, which is a mango juice. So students, Coke will use its cash units and they will give it to Maaza, a new company. This is like the BCG matrix, students. Cash cow can be used to fund the other business as well, the star category business and the problem child business as well. So that is the understanding. So students, I'll write down here, tech-based organization is very new to, I can say, Trayyner group, very new to Trayyner group. Therefore, at present, this division will need cash to operate, Therefore, this cannot be considered as what, students? As the investment what, students? Center. Is that fine, Priscilla? Yes or no? Students, are you understanding? It is new. It is very new. Look at the way I am writing. So a new company will need money, right, students? Yes or no? So a new company can never be classified as an investment center. Suppose if it is shell company, or if it is something, a company related to special purpose. Okay. So investment center, we have done the appraisal and given as not considered. So students, before we move into the cost center, can you just put Y in the chat box if the investment center ideology is clear for you, students? If the investment center ideology is clear for you, can you put Y in the chat box, students? Excellent. Thank you very much, students. So students, I will come to the next one as the cost center. So students, if you observe here, now we are going to charge money from the delegates. What do you think, students? Yes or no? because this app-based business will be making revenue, but it's not a cost center because we are not only maintaining app. This company is selling as well. This is not only a producer, this is also a producer plus a seller and a distributor as well. So consolidation wise, this can't be a cost center, students. So I'll write down here, the cost center is generally a production or maintenance unit, production or maintenance or administration, or what, students? Administration unit or administration unit. It's a cost center, is a production, maintenance or administration unit. Just keep in mind, students. Therefore, in practical terms, tech-based entity for Trayyner will not only produce the mobile app, but they will also distribute the product. They will also distribute the product to the market. What do you think, students? Yes or no? To the market, comma, further they may charge a fee for the product. They may charge a fee for the service, for the service. So this cannot be what center, students? A cost center, full stop. So students, look at the way I am connecting a theory. Look at here, connecting a theory. This therefore sentence is the sentence that is quickly changing the theory into application. You get what I'm saying, students? I have theory. I'm not saying completely ignore theory. I have theory, but I completely apply the theory to the business perspective. So students, if that is fine for you all, can you just put Y in the chat box, students? If the cost center explanation is clear for you all, can you just put Y in the chat box? Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So students, after the cost center, I will move on to the next one as the profit center, So students, I will just write it down. So it's very easy for you all. The profit center generally earns revenue and incur what, students? Cost. The profit center earns revenue and incur cost. Therefore, we need to understand that the company is generally making revenue through the online courses via the mobile app. Further, they may have operational cost such as, I can say, server maintenance, app registration. So students, just observe that, students. They may have server maintenance, app registration as well. Therefore, the tech company can be determined as a what center, students? Profit center, full stop. Profit center. So students, any questions you have, you can let me know, but we have done the analysis very, very well. So students, in this case, I am completed. So I have just said it's a profit center. So I have completed. It is recommended to go ahead as what center, students? Profit center. Any questions, students? You can ask me, but if it is fine for you, students, please put Y in the chat box, students. Thank you. Thank you, students. Thank you, students. So students, now see the way of writing an application, and students, this time it came for me somewhere around 719 words. If you see, students, 719 words, and the number of paragraphs were 32, it says, but I think it's less than that, students, because I think it has taken all this as paragraph. This profit center also as paragraph it has taken. So students, I feel we have developed a very good point of view answer. So students, thank you very much for doing the co-activity 1 evaluation. We will have that discussion on our Saturday class. And also students, I wanted to say, I have already emailed you the mock number 3. You can do it in the Word document like what you did in the previous class. I did not introduce you to the platform till now, because at the moment, our main objective is to learn the structuring. Because when I give you the platform, students, it gives you the timing, 45 minutes. So you get the pressure more than what is required. So I don't want to give you the pressure at the moment. I want you to learn the process very, very well. So students, just try to structure the answer very, very well. And students, read the answers of the previous candidates like Saeed and I think Shruti, and make correction notes in your answers, students, because this is like a teamwork, I can generally say. So students, I will come for the individual feedback. So unfortunately, we don't have the voice option today. I will fix it for you all by Saturday class. So Mr. Jose, any questions you have, you can use the chat box. If you're fine, you can put Y in the chat box. Mr. Kamrul, you can use the chat box. Any doubts you have, you can mention. Mr. Krishna, any questions you have, you can let me know. I will respond through the chat today. Nirosh, any questions you have, you can let me know. I will respond. Mr. Funny, any questions you have, you can let me know, students. And then students, I'll come to Priscilla. Any questions, you can use the chat box. If you're fine, why? Ravi Kumar, you can also do the same thing. Any doubts, you can use it. Mr. Sajal, any doubts, you can use the chat box. Sambar Murthy, any doubts? Shruti, Sayed, Vishnu, Yahya. So students, thank you. Thank you. No questions. Thank you, students. Thank you, students. So students, again, the question I sent you today is a little bit tricky question, but don't give up, students. Do your best, whatever you can do. So we will meet on our Saturday class. And students who did not do the co-activities, please try to submit that, students, because I'm tracking your mind, students. So thank you very much, students. I will meet you on the Saturday class. Thank you, students.